How's it going, guys? I'm back right now, walking in the woods. Uh, it's kind of creepy, I would say. I don't know. It's like I've never been here, and currently I'm in Illinois. Uh, so yeah, I decided to go for a walk because I was sitting home for a while, and I was like, my body needs to move. I've been sick for a week, and I couldn't go to the gym or anything, so I feel like I need my body moving. So yeah, and just want to record, share. I haven't recorded in a bit, so I've been reading a book called Satan and Autobiography, and it's about ego. And yeah, it's an interesting book. I'm only like halfway done, but I definitely recommend it. Wow, this is kind of creepy. uh, I'm here. I don't know where am I, but that's the part of the adventure. It's kind of fun. Just walking around, going nowhere. Oh, that's creepy. Well, oh shit, it's dirty. But yeah, there's like a road there. So, not gonna lie, ego is a very difficult thing to understand, especially when you try to why it feels so close, but it feels like you're one with the ego and you're trying to figure out or detach from yourself and your ego, and you gotta find that perfect balance where you can distinguish the ego within yourself. Alright, so egoism, it's really hard to explain this. I don't know. I still try to understand it, but like egoism is obviously being selfish and only caring about yourself. It's God. Apparently, in the story, it's the God who gave us the oh God, gave us the ability to have ego. It's not a egoism is not bad. It's just a way for us to experience pain without being in physical pain. So you can, like, with ego, you can imagine all the adversity that you can go through. Like sometimes you can go through like breakup, and you can imagine the breakup that you're gonna have and how much pain it's gonna bring you without actually going through it. So it's like a tool that God gave us that we can use. But obviously, sometimes it's really bad because you're using it for your advantage. Obviously, that's what ego is. But it's like a tool, you gotta use it correctly. So if you wanna live happily, you have to learn how to use it correctly. Because the way it works, when you use the for a selfish way, you get the what's called short-term pleasure. You enjoy it right now, but then you're gonna be miserable for later. Like for the end term, you're gonna have miserable life that you don't want. But if you sacrifice those pleasures from the short term, in the long term, you're gonna have a very happy and fulfilling life. So it does connect with the egoism, because when you try to take only for yourself, that's when you become miserable, because you're only doing it for yourself, and it's basically like karma. Like world takes it away from you as well. But when you give, the world gives you back. So, and the book also says that like because of egoism, this is where famine comes in, wars, global warming, everything that you do affects the world. And because you give out the negative energy to the world, it gives back the negative energy to you. So that's why when it feels like you're only miserable, it actually gives out to the world. So, and that's why you're trying to be like giving the good deeds as much as possible. So egoism also feeds on, the only thing I remember is obviously selfishness, aggression, jealousy, even depression. It's like things that you can actually control and you try to like avoid. It's like the way it does is the God tests you, and it gives you each decision that you give, or he gives, is a test or a quiz, and you never know which one it is. You don't know if it's like a pop quiz, like a small test, or is it like an exam. So that's why you always have to think about it, because the ego is always there. Any selfish act that you do, there's always ego. So think about it and try not to. It's really hard to think about it, because I didn't like to think about ego because I did not fully understand it. So it was really hard for me to understand what the hell I'm talking about or thinking. So I tried to avoid it, which just proves how ego controls you sometimes. Or ego doesn't control you, it's just there. And a lot of people identify ego with themselves. So they think that they are the ego and they control everything. But it's not the case. Ego can control you if you let it. So that's where you always have to think it for a second and think about the decisions that you do. And like, what are your intentions as well? Like, obviously, that was like an example when you can like cheat on someone. Like, you're obviously gonna say no because you don't wanna, you're avoiding the pleasure of having sex. And then they ask, but if you think about it, what's really behind it? When you compare to what you have, for example, you have your beautiful wife, your children, your house, it feels like there's nothing to it. Like, you're losing nothing when you like say no to it, to the offer. But and then you start feeling like prideful and feeling like you're like a good man, and that's in itself is an ego as well. So it's a very complicated topic, and I'm still trying to figure out it. And I'm like halfway of the book, so I only start to understand it. But it's a really interesting topic, and for me, it's very uncomfortable to understand it because I don't fully understand it, and it's really hard to picture a thing that it controls you that is not there, like physically, obviously, but it is there that can control you if you let it. So it's a very interesting concept for me, and I feel like it definitely can influence how you live your life and how you can choose if you want to be happy or not. So, yeah, I realized I needed to go for a walk, as I said before. I feel so much better. My body is like actually moving. I've been walking for like an hour already, so it feels really nice. And yeah, just be curious. Don't be hard on yourself, because that's again gives ego the power. It's okay making mistakes, because everyone do. As I said before, nobody is perfect. It's the mistakes that makes you closer to being perfect or being better yourself. So stay safe, stay hydrated, and be better.